Hi foodies, how you doing? This Saturday I made a really delicious pumpkin soup. I've made pumpkin soup before, vegetarian style. This time I used a little, a few different ingredients, but I wanted to share this with you. So let's get into it. So these are some of the ingredients here. I'm going to be using, of course, pumpkin and some carrot right here. And I have some allspice berries, scotch bonnet, some scallion, fresh thyme, definitely fresh thyme, and some okra, garlic, a little butter there, and some cashew nuts. There's also yellow yam and potatoes over here. All right. For powder seasoning, I'm going to be using this pumpkin soup mix. If you don't want to use this, you can use a vegetarian or vegan seasoning of your choice. I like this, so I'm going to be using this. Of course, this is Jamaican style, so I have to use some dumplings in there. So this is my dumpling dough. It's literally water, salt, and flour, and you just knead it together to make a dough that's easy to roll. I have a video on my channel on how I make that. Super simple. All right, so we're gonna start off in the pot with a little butter. If you want this to be vegan, you can use a substitute. Then I am going to add onions and carrots, and then we're gonna stir this around in the butter for a little bit. If you want to use more for this step, you can add more. And I'm going to be using some garlic as well. So I'm just going to be, cooking these in the butter for a little bit just to help with developing the flavor of the soup. Because of course, we don't have the usual chicken broth to get that flavor from the bone, right? So I'm just going to be cooking some pumpkin, some carrot, some garlic and onion. If you have celery at home, you can add a little celery here and just stir it around in the butter for a few minutes. Okay, this just helps with some flavor. All right, we're gonna add some green seasoning too. This is frozen, so that's why it looks like this. This is a mixture of, onion, garlic, scallion, a little ginger, some scotch bonnet, some thyme. So it's really flavorful. I'm just gonna stir it around so it can melt and get this flavor going. All right, so I'm gonna add the rest of the carrot on the pumpkin at this point. I'm using a lot because I want the soup to be very rich. And then just add some water. We want this to soften significantly, so I'm going to cover it and allow it to cook until it softens. So just keep your eye on it, check on it. As soon as the pumpkin is able to be smashed super easy, then you're good to go. So I'm just going to check out the pumpkin right here, and if you press it with your fork or your spoon and it's easy to mash, then you are good. All right, if you want your vegetable soup to be super thin, that's fine. I don't like my pumpkin soup to be super thin, so I put a few pieces of carrot and pumpkin in my blender. Just make a smooth puree and add it back to the pot. This is gonna help to thicken your soup. All right, so if you want it to be very thick, you can puree the whole thing, but I just take out maybe a cup of the pumpkins and the carrot and I puree them. Add it back to the pot, and then I added some cashew nuts. You can add cashew later on if you prefer. And I'm adding some diced yellow yam and diced potatoes. You could even use some Jamaican sweet potatoes. Those won't take long to cook because they're very small. So I'm adding all the seasonings now, the scotch bonnet, the scallion, the pimento, the thyme, and the pumpkin soup mix. This has noodles, so I always use my sieve to remove the noodles. You can do it this way, or you can just do it in a bowl and add it to the soup. So that's what I'm adding here. After the yam has cooked for just a couple minutes, I add the dumpling because this cooks really fast. So this is a flour dumpling dough, and I'm just going to make some spinners. Really skinny, small dumplings. You just break off a piece of dough, put a little piece in your palm, and then rub it together. And then you'll just make these skinny dumplings. If you want to make round dumplings, that's fine too. And then we'll just add them to the pot. As I said before, you can use that pumpkin soup mix, or you can use a vegetable or vegan seasoning. Just add it to taste, okay? So add as much as you need, and if you don't want powder seasoning, you can go all natural and just leave that out. After adding as many dumplings as you want, allow them to cook and give it a stir. Make sure you taste, add whatever you need to add, whether it's some pink salt or some more of that soup seasoning pack, and you are good to go at this point. Now, this is optional. I like to add a little coconut milk sometimes. So this is coconut powder, and I will mix it with a little water and stir it into the soup. If you want to use regular coconut milk, you can add a little. Okay, so that's the powder, and I'll just add some water, mix it, and add a little to the soup. It just helps to make the soup really filling. Okay, because these are healthy fats. Usually you'd get the fats from your chicken or your beef to make this very filling. This is a different type of fat, vegetable fat, all right, or vegetarian fat. So adding it does help to make the soup more filling, but it's optional. Sometimes I leave it out. All right, all depends on my mood. So give it a stir and just let it cook for at least 2 minutes. All right, your pumpkin soup is perfectly fine at this point. However, sometimes I add even more vegetables, so I'll go in with some diced okra, or okra as we say in Jamaica. So you can add some bits of okra last minute, because if you add it too soon, it's gonna be too mushy. So what I do is I have my soup just like this, or I add some okra at the end. This is optional, okay? And there are many other ingredients you can add. You can add chocho. Some places they call that Christophine. And you can even add Jamaican sweet potatoes. You could add peanuts. Many things you can add to this vegetable soup. But the main thing is pumpkin. As I said before, you can make this as thin as you want or as thick as you want. You can add more water while you're cooking it, or you can, stick to this thickness. I love this texture because the pureed pumpkin and the carrot just makes it so rich. So it's very filling. You don't feel like you're missing anything. So give this a try and let me know what you think, guys. Also comment below and let me know what other ingredients you would add to this rich pumpkin soup. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.